people don't understand the grind, right? There's this period, oftentimes it's 7 to 15 years of just intense grind where the amount of work you're putting in versus the reward you're actually getting back is so minimal. And then, of course, you reach a certain stage after a decade plus, and you start getting the, oh, must be nice, or you got lucky, or, oh, I wish, I got that lucky, or whatever it is. And I think that's often because people see the end result, although this is not the end stage, right? Mm-hmm. They see that, but they completely miss the 10 to 15 years prior to it. And they weren't there for it. And they probably would not trade their comfort to go through all the nonsense and all the rejection and all the discomfort. So for me, myself, I worked I studied at Oxford University. I graduated with a degree in computer science at the age of 20. And I did music full-time for a year, but then I moved it to London, worked in the corporate world, management consultant for 3 years, 2008 to 2011. Throughout this time, by the time I went full-time with my music, I'd put out 3 independent releases, sold a few thousand CDs, just traveling around, selling on the street, hand to hand. And then from 2011, when I went full-time, 2011 to early 2019, I was just hustling. I was just out there. My primary income for the first 6 years, literally just being out there on the street. I'm sure in certain cities, whether it's Vegas or New York or LA, London, you've come across guys selling their CDs in the street, right? So that was me. I was just out there every day, 5-6 days a week, traveling all over the UK, north, south, east, west, rain, snow. UK doesn't have the best weather. Snow, sun, whatever. I was just out there on the street all day talking to people. I sold over 25,000 CDs hand to hand.
Wow.
To sell 25,000 CDs, you know how many people you have to talk to?
A lot.
So when I tell people I've met over 500,000 people in real life, they always like, oh, no, you just talk on Twitter or whatever. I'm like, dude, you've missed the past 15 years. Yeah. I was just out there. And then eventually, 2014, I started doing pop-up shops. So, in shopping malls, you get those little kiosks in the middle. So my friend and I, we started our own shop, and we were selling our hats, T-shirts, CDs. We used to have our own brand of headphones. So we were selling all that. So from 2014 to early 2019, that was my main bread and butter. So I'd do one pop-up shop a month for kind of half the month, just be in there, make a small profit, sometimes barely break even because you have to pay all the rental fees for the shopping mall and all that for the space. And you have to pay for all the merchandise and all that. And that was it. I told people this on Twitter last year, but I think something important for people to know about my own story is 2020 was the first year that I made more money than I used to make in my corporate job. I left my corporate job at 24. Yeah. So it wasn't until I was 33 years old that I surpassed what I was doing back then. Because so many people thought, you're a rap. People think if you're a rapper, you're just making money, right? just because magic, right? Yeah. And people don't understand the grind that goes into it. So I even had people who thought that I went into this for explicitly, you just want to make more money. I was like, dude, if I want to just make money and be comfortable, I've got a degree from Oxford. I would have just stayed on that corporate path and, you know what I mean? Just stayed there. It would have been comfortable. But people miss all that. And then, so it's interesting. There's a lot of parallels with that story. So coming back to you starting this gym in California, what made you actually want to do that? And why in California? Because that's if you're in Baltimore, seems a little, I know you're into
far
fitness.
Away from home as possible.
Yeah, that's very far to just go over and start a gym.
Yeah. So there's two reasons. One was I wanted to get as far away from home as I could.
Okay.
And it sounds more dramatic than it was. It was, I just wanted space. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be in a day's drive away. Like I wanted to be in my own area. Because I think the thing that I felt very constrained. I felt like I was trying to meet the expectations of other people. And so I just wanted to go to a place where as little of that physically could affect me emotionally.
Yeah.
The other reason was I was between South Beach and California because they were the two fitness capitals, in my opinion, of the world at that point, or at least in the US. And so my thought process was, if I can win there, then I can win anywhere. Okay. And so I want to go where it's most competitive so that I can learn the best, most cutting edge stuff and then win there. And then I can kind of expand nationally. At least that was my thought going into it. But that was the main reason. And to a point you said earlier, I think people would be willing to do the grind, but they can't deal with the uncertainty. Because the thing is like, if you say, hey, hold your breath, and and the person starts holding their breath. It's easy to do that if you know the person's going to say you can breathe again in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you just sit there and you're like just staring at them, like I feel like that's a lot of what the entrepreneurship thing is. It's like you save up some money and then you take the dive and you hold your breath and you're like, how long am I going to have to hold my breath? And the answer is you just don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the answer. I think that's the thing that most people are afraid of. And for me, that was my big fear because I just didn't know how long it was going to take. I knew I wouldn't stop, but I didn't know how long it was going to take.
Yeah. I love that analogy. I think another core part of it for someone like yourself or someone like myself is we had taken the more normal option to begin with. So it's almost like you're doing that. And there's also a rope that you can grab onto. So for some people, it truly is sink or swim, right? There's people who, they've got no family whatsoever. They're going to fall flat on their face and, be on the street if they don't make it. If it's like, oh, you've got a university degree, you worked in the corporate world before, it's like, man, I know I can just grab this thing and live a quote unquote normal life and be comfortable, but you're still there holding your breath with this delusional level of self-belief, knowing I know somehow, some way this is going to work out. I don't know how long it's going to take. It could be 5, 7, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And also people don't understand it, right? People are there like, why are you holding your breath? Like, why don't you just be a normal person and do what normal people do? Why are you why are you sleeping in the gym?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Right. With me, I'd be just all over the place. Just, when I left my job, I got a Volkswagen Transporter van and I wrapped it in purple with the Zuby logo on the side.
Yeah.
I still got it. It's called the Zuby tank. And I would just go on road trips up and down the country, just, fill it up with CDs and just travel around. Yeah. And of course, to keep costs down, I mean, I didn't normally sleep in my van. I did a couple times, but I just stay in like the cheapest hotel possible. Yeah, I'm going to Manchester for a week. I'm just going to stay in the cheapest, crappiest hotel. Or if I've got friends there, cool, I'll stay on their sofa, I'll stay on their floor, whatever. Because if I go, I'm not making that much money. I'm making, on a good day, maybe 100 to 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And then if I go and I get a 100-pound hotel, it's like, well, what's the point? Yeah, I'm not making any profit at all. Yeah. So there's a lot of discomfort. And then with a musician grind, you add to that the gigging as well. So traveling around and doing shows. And again, people are like, oh, wow, you're on tour. That's awesome. I'm like, maybe it's awesome at like the top level
right.
where you don't need to organize anything yourself and you just show up, collect a giant bag of money and perform a couple songs, which everyone already knows the words to and you don't actually need to rap. But like if you're a lower level independent artist, like touring is a grind. It's not fun.
And you have to bring your A game.
You've got to bring your A game, even if there's 10 people in the crowd.
Totally.
You can go there, you're looking at the crowd, half the audience is the staff. Right? The sound man, the people working at the bar, the security guys, whatever. And you've got like 5, 6 like hardcore fans who have been following you on MySpace or on YouTube or whatever. And those ones you don't even break even. And this is all the stuff that I like talking about it because I wish more entrepreneurs and more creative people did. I think so many interviews and so many conversations, it starts with the here and now. It's like, oh, cool. I'm here. I'm already a millionaire. Yeah. And this is all my stuff now. And it's like, well, wait, how did you... I'm more curious how someone made the first million than how they made the next however many. Because that first one, the zero to one,
hardest one.
That's the hardest. And that's where I think most of the life lessons are.